Welcome into Dragon Ball Super Hero. My name is Kyle. Thank you for checking this out. It's been a minute since we put out an episode, but for this special double episode, I guess, I don't know. It's not going to be double the length, but it'll be double the amount of content. I'm joined today by my brother, Raysean. Raysean, how you doing?
I am doing great. Another day to be alive, man.
Yeah, we're blessed. We're fortunate. We are talking about Dragon Ball, though, so there's that.
I'm excited, man. The fan.
I'm glad.
To the core. So nothing Dragon Ball can do can keep me away.
It's keeping me away, man. I think it's been like 6 weeks, maybe longer, since we put out an episode. Might be hearing this over the weekend on the Patreon. Maybe it's early next week, like Monday or Tuesday for the public cut. But this retelling of the Dragon Ball Super Hero story in the manga is seriously bad news for me, man. I hate everything about it. Most things about it. Pretty much all of it, though. And so much to the point that Chapter 94 from June, I didn't read that till about 3 or 4 days ago. We're recording this on July 21st, I think. Yeah. And, Chapter 95, that one, I kind of read it. I read like the Krillin stuff at the beginning, and then I flipped through the action stuff, and I did some timestamp research on exactly how much of these chapters have covered of the narrative of the movie. Do you have a guess, Raysean, on how much time in the movie Chapter 94 covered in the movie? So, like the first 2 chapters of the manga retelling, it covered about 20 minutes of the movie per chapter. So the first 40 minutes of the movies are in the first 2 chapters of this arc. How many minutes of the movie do you think Chapter 94 covered?
Well, they do say fight scenes, they take up a small part of the thing.
You're right.
So maybe I'd say maybe like 10 minutes, maybe.
Actually, Chapter 94, it starts. You're actually spot on, dude. Yeah, I'm sorry. I got my fucking 94 and 95 things swapped here, but yes, you're 100% on. It starts around the 48-minute mark of the movie, and it ends around the 58-minute mark of the movie. So 10 minutes, the 48-minute mark is roughly when they pick Pan up or kidnap her from school and then lure Gohan out, and then to the point where he transforms through Super Saiyan up to his ultimate form. That's where Chapter 94 ends. 10 minutes. All right. I get it. It's a big fight scene. That makes sense. It can't be too upset about it. Chapter 95, what's your guess on how many minutes that they cover in the movie?
Wait, so 94 was 10 minutes. Yep. 95 is mostly all fights. So I'm gonna probably say that's probably got to be lower, because at least 94 did have a little bit of dialogue, because you did have the Pan stuff and that. So I'm gonna say maybe 5.
It starts around the 58-minute mark, and it ends. And well, actually, I shouldn't say that it starts there, because they do have the Krillin and 18 stuff for the first 4 pages of the chapter, which I want to talk about in a second here. But starts at the 58-minute mark of the movie. It ends at the 62-minute mark of the movie. 4 minutes of the movie have passed by in Chapter 95 this month. But they do, at least in both chapters, I think in Chapter 94, they have like a Goten and Trunks little sighting, and they're like, bring your watch and shit like that. So it's like, cool. They're going to show up. They gave us a little like preview as to why they show up. I do wonder if they're going to have their watches or whatever. In this one, they give you the Krillin and 18 are going to the battle thing, and here's why. What did you think about these 4 pages in the front of this chapter? What'd you think?
With the whole Krillin and Android 18?
Yeah.
I felt like I thought it worked, because I felt like that was a moment that could actually happen. So it was kind of funny to see, and I felt like it kind of went with the movie. So like if there was in the movie, you can kind of see why Krillin and 18 were there. So I do like that part. I liked the fact that we forgetting I thought what was more important was the fact that Mirren looked like she was damn near a teenager right there. I didn't even know they have aged her up that much.
That's a really interesting observation. I did not clock that, but now that you said it, I'm going to go pull it up to see for myself. But I don't know, man. I saw the drafts of it the other day. And I was like, oh, cool. They're going to give us a little bit of Krillin and 18 stuff. This is like the cool, fun stuff that I wish this manga, given what the situation is, I wish they tried to do more of it to just try to keep things kind of interesting for the people who saw the fucking movie, which we all did. So I was
But I
like,
feel
cool.
like
I
they've
wonder
been doing that a little bit.
here and there, but like it's so small. And it has to be because it has to fit into the movie story and all that. So I understand why it's small, but it is kind of frustrating when it's like, just focus on that a little bit more. I already know Gohan fights these two fucking robots and it's a big old jet. Give me a little bit more of the Krillin stuff. Please give me a little bit more of the Goku and Broly stuff. Like, that's what I was hoping they would kind of build out a little bit more if they had to fucking adapt the manga or the movie for the manga. But yeah, I'm pulling up. Let's see. Holy shit, dog. Yeah, why is she so old? Why is
Yeah.
Marin so old?
That's why when I noticed, I was like, dang, she's like pretty much like a teen. I know she's not that far behind Goten and Krillin. I mean Goten and Trunks. Cause
I
that
guess.
but
Yeah.
see, they've always been kind of like the same size. So they could have been like, you know what I mean, like 10. And I'm just thinking like they were like 8 or something. But they've always seemed like they've always were near each other in age to me.
Yeah. So Goten Trunks are like
They like in
7
high
and
school, like
now they are. I'm trying to think of the math a little bit, right? So Goten and Trunks are like 7 and 8 in the Buu saga. Marin's probably like 3, 4 tops. So right now they're supposed to be about 15, right? This is about roughly 8 years after Buu, 2 years before they get into Z. I believe that's the math anyway. That would put her at what, like
11 or
12?
10 or
Is she just
10.
really is that what the joke they're trying to make? Is that it's Krillin's daughter? Obviously, she's fucking super tall. She looks so tall to the point that she looks almost like she's a teenager when in fact she's probably like 12.
Well developed. That could be the android genes.
That's a good point. Yeah. I don't know, man. That's a really good catch. I didn't even think about that looking because again, I looked at these pages real quick and I was like, oh, that's what we're doing. Okay. Fun. I didn't care for this Krillin 18 stuff. I'll tell you why. I'm fine that they did something with them. That's actually, I'd love to see it, but this just doesn't. I actually wrote this down, right? 4 pages of Krillin 18, and then the Krillin 18 dynamic is off, and it's dumb as fuck. I love how I just write this down in the notes, and then I have to read it because I can't express my thoughts otherwise. 18 doesn't get jealous. And Krillin loves her so much, there would never even be a reason for her to potentially become jealous. I feel like it was a mishandling of the two characters just for the sake of having a little extra or a little bit of a reason as to why she came along. The real reason she came along in the movie is because she's Krillin's wife and she loves his dumb little ass and doesn't want him to die. And honestly, that's all the reason you need to justify.
But I feel like she has had
up.
jealous moments though, because like when she was mad at 17 for calling Marin name wrong, she was pissed about that.
No, that's different than like worried her man's gonna fucking walk out on her because that's the whole thing. He's like, "Who is this Sergeant Nuts or whatever that you work with? She's a woman. Well, I'm coming with you. I don't trust this Sergeant Nut situation." I'm like, dude, you are like the most powerful fucking woman at least, like on the earth, like.
But then
the
I can
universe.
always, remember how she always be like, she always see Krillin as like a cool type of person. Maybe that's what she's like thinking the other person.
She doesn't see Krillin as cool. She makes fun of him all the time. She knows that he's kind of a bum, but she loves him anyway. She's his protector. I swear
she's had moments when she was like, yeah, he's a cool guy or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure she literally said that to somebody when they were like, so what's up with you and Krillin? She's like, yeah, he's cool, I guess. I don't know. But the only time that you can really think of like a tender, super tender, like 18 fucking Krillin moment is when they kill him in GT when he's old man fucking Krillin and with the Albert Einstein shit going on, and he gets killed by Super 17. I believe like that really fucking pulls your heart out.
I want to try to save him from Boo. He was like, run. He's like, run 18.
Oh,
and she started running.
Am I just forgetting 18? That? Dude, I'm such a fucking GT apologist, man. It lives at the forefront of my mind so hard sometimes.
I was talking about Z.
Yeah, I'm the weirdo. I think about Dragon Ball GT way too much. I actually have it fresh on my brain right now. I just watched a really good video. I was going to bring this up later as like my positive piece of whatever before I start bitching about stuff. It kind of makes sense to bring it up now, if I'm being honest, because we've basically already talked about 94 and 95. That starts with Pan getting kidnapped in 94, Gohan going ultimate to fight Gamma 1 and the end of 94. 95 is the fight continues, and then Piccolo transforms at the end. with his big orange thing. So that's chapter 94 and 95. My one piece of like positive Dragon Ball news, or like something I feel good about that I want to tell the audience. Totally Not Mark just put out this really good video about all of the composers throughout the history of Dragon Ball, starting with like Shinsuke Kikuchi going all the way through Subitomo doing Super, and like all the American composers and localizations in between, and just like breaks down which scores are what and like why they use them, why there were replacement scores, and does a nice little deep dive into all of the composers. It's super fucking fascinating, man, especially if you really enjoy Dragon Ball music, or like if you're curious about why I'm such a fucking weirdo about Dragon Ball music. Talks really like deeply about, I don't know, like why replacement scores were a thing. He actually does a really good deep dive on each of the individual composers, but some of the good ones he did. The GT composer, this is why it's at the front of my head. It's the dude who took over for Shunsuke Kikuchi, like the OG. He retires, and they're like, shit, what are we gonna do? And they just get this fucking dude who's a bass player in a band. And they're like, you ever composed for TV before? And they're like, nah. And then they just did the GT score and the Path to Power score. And I believe they played bass for the band Zard, which did the song Don't You See at the end of Dragon Ball GT, if you know that one. So that's like a really interesting story I didn't know about before. There was another one, though. And this is like blowing my fucking head, dude. The Dragon Ball Z replacement score that Funny used, they had a dude come in who was named Nathan Johnson, who had basically no previous experience composing Dragon Ball music. And he did okay. Like he started off pretty rough. Not, I say composing Dragon Ball music. What I should say is composing any music at all for television. And they hired him to do it. And he did like, he got better as he went along, blah, blah, blah. Again, Totally Not Mark does a really great job breaking all this shit down. This is what blows my mind, though, is he is currently a fucking Texas state senator representing Dallas and like whatever county that is. It's bizarre that a former Dragon Ball composer is a fucking state senator somewhere. And I don't know, man. It just makes me feel weird, like knowing that. Did you ever hear about Nathan Johnson before today? Also, do you think it sounds like two dick names put together? Because I kind of do.
No, but I think the most interesting politician that I ever thought was interesting, just because the fact that I've grown up watching him, was Kane when he became the mayor of WWE. Have you seen WWE?
I don't really know WWE that well, but he became the mayor of WWE.
Not the mayor of WWE. He became the mayor of, I think it was Tennessee. Jacob Glenn. I don't know. It's like Knoxville or somewhere. I think I can't remember exactly where he was. It's
Jesse Ventura too, right? Wasn't he in Minnesota? The governor of Minnesota, is that right?
I don't. I just know about the King thing. I think maybe Linda McMahon was a politician.
Yes, Jesse Ventura, former governor. Ventura, not Ventura. Former governor of Minnesota. Weird, man.
That's good.
Anyway, WWE Kane, mayor of Knox County. Holy shit, yeah. Glenn Jacobs, good call, bro. Anyway, go watch that Totally Not Mark video now that I did a terrible job fucking trying to tell you about it. Also, he does a really good job into the Yamamoto DBZ Kai controversy and how he stole a bunch of shit, and like they had to go back and fix a bunch of old video games and shit because he's been stealing shit since the 80s. He basically did like every single Dragon Ball video game under the sun. And then when Shinsuke Kikuchi like retired, he did the score for Kai. And then somebody on the internet was like, hey, you know all these songs from Dragon Ball you really like? It's because you like them because some power band did them in the 80s and you kind of remember it in the back of your head. And here you go. Here's the side-by-side samples. That's really interesting piece of it. And then also...
Is that how he got caught?
Pretty much, yeah. Like some internet sleuth like put out I don't know if it was a YouTube video, but like the equivalent of a YouTube video lining up the comparisons of the video game music and the Kai music and, you know, whatever bands, some weird ass obscure band in the 80s. It wasn't just one band. It was a bunch of different stuff all over the place. Pretty sure he ripped off at least like one Journey song, probably like a few different things like that. It's actually, everyone wonders why, I think it's Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I believe, is super expensive. The original is super expensive because it has that dude's songs on it. and not and like it's also like one of the most popular fucking games of all time, but it's more valued because that dude's music's on it. Replacement games afterwards that came out, like reprintings of the game, have a replacement score. So if you find like a super fucking expensive one, like 250, 300, make sure it's that one with the not the Yumitomo, the fuck's his name? I forget. Yamamoto. I can only do so much with Dragon Ball, Japanese Dragon Ball names. And then also the composer for Dragon Ball Super, Sumitomo, does a good job talking about why the beginning of Dragon Ball Super's music is so fucking terrible. Because that was one thing that never sat well with me when Dragon Ball Super came back. I was watching it every Sunday morning at like 9 a.m. on a fucking Facebook pirated video. And I'd be like, what's up with this stupid little dumbass play guitar keyboard sound and shit? Like, this sounds so dumb. This is Dragon Ball. This is one of the greatest anime franchises of all time. And this is what the music's like. And then by the end of the series, dude is putting out literally some of the greatest music to ever come out of Dragon Ball in its fucking 35 years history. So pretty good video. Check it out. Totally not Mark. You have any
if you're like me, you probably don't even really listen to the theme songs or this shit. You go on. I'm like, I just skip through it. So I mean, I've heard some of them, but I don't know. I'm more to the next episode type of person.
It's not even the theme song, though. I'm talking about the score in the background as the show's going on. That music.
I don't even think I'd be paying attention to that. Maybe I do. Like if I hear it, but like I feel like I'm more like interested in the fighting. So
your eyes are working overtime. Your ears are not doing as much.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. I play music, man. I think about music a lot. So. And also that Shinsuke Kikuchi score from OG and Dragon Ball Z, like the big, crazy horn shit, like the funk rock fucking pieces of it, the traditional Chinese aspect part of it. Awesome, amazing score. Do you have any positive Dragon Ball things that you want to talk about before I talk about some shit I am mad about regarding Dragon Ball? Do you have any bits of positivity to share?
I don't know any like new news coming out because the only news I'm waiting for is they're creating a new season. That's the only thing I've been waiting for is a new season, and I'm hoping we're gonna get some news coming soon. But I rewatched Dragon Ball Super just recently, and the only thing I could say is, man, they really got off on the fact that it was some strong nostalgia, because some of these mistakes you be seeing in the anime, it's like I've never seen this when I first watched it. I swear I was like, this is a good anime, but every time I rewatch it, I'm like, they didn't even try to on this scene. They didn't even like. It's like some scenes they did because they make it so fast, where it's like, damn, they just scribbled that together, and it's like, oh man, there's something like that. It's just especially like Zeno, the two gods of I can't Zeno, right? Some scenes like in the Tournament of Power, they look so weird. Like I mean, like what the fuck did they?
I mean, they look weird regardless, man. They were weird designed for the Dragon Ball world. So are you talking about just like weird production mistakes and stuff? Is that what you mean?
Like animation mistakes?
Yeah.
Like when you just like, what the fuck, bro?
Well, early on, I mean, it's fucking notoriously bad. Like those first like 30-ish episodes until they started getting into the U6, U7 tournament. That's when they kind of figured it out a little bit. And then when it's into the Trunks arc, I mean, there's some clunkers in the Trunks arc too, but they mostly had their shit figured out. And then the end of the Tournament of Power, some of the best looking Dragon Ball episodes of all time are in that arc. So, it's tough. But you're right, though. They were like, yeah, we can just kind of coast, which is exactly what they're doing this year. So.
Man,
yeah. This is what else I wrote down, because I was saying to Raysean before we hit record, guys, that I've almost sat down to do this episode like, I don't know, 2 or 3 times by myself. So I've made show notes a few times, and episode 90 or episode chapter 95 dropped yesterday. So I was like, yo, Ray, what are you doing? Let's do one early on Friday. So here we are. But I have a lot of weird shit written down, and this is what occurred to me the other day. It's been like 5, not quite 5.5 years, but like 5 years and 4-ish months since Super wrapped up on television. And it doesn't feel like that long ago to me sometimes. Sometimes it feels like just a few years ago, and I could remember that shit very, very clearly. But I started to think about it like this. The obvious one is like Dragon Ball Super went off the air before COVID happened. COVID is like this weird fucking dementor of time that like totally makes us conceive time differently now the last 3 years. But still, it's weird to say that like COVID and everything has happened surrounding it since it started to how we are now. That all happened in the time that Dragon Ball Z was off the fucking air for like 2.5 years before that happened. That's fucking wild to me. What's the next one? It was off the air when I was still in my 20s. I'm now 34. I was in the last year of my 20s when Dragon Ball Super was still on the air. My Hero Academia was in season
you threw me
2.
off a little bit. I thought you were saying 20. You were 20 years old.
No, I
I
wasn't
was like,
20. No.
wait a minute.
The last year of my 20s. I think I was 29, 28, 29. But still, to say that I was in my 20s when Super went off the air and now I'm approaching my mid 30s, bad luck. My Hero Academia was in season 2, I believe, when Dragon Ball Super went off the air. We're now going to get news on My Hero Academia season 7 next week. Like, that's fucking crazy. Dragon Ball Super went off the air before Demon Slayer even started. Off the air before Avengers Endgame and Infinity War and Endgame came out. It was off the air before Endgame and Infinity War came out. It was off the air, and I don't know if you have any point of reference for this, but some of the listeners will. It was off the air before all of the Vic Mignogna stuff happened. And that literally feels like a totally different life to me sometimes. It is crazy to me that Super's been off the air longer than since that fucking happened. It's sad, man. I hate it. And what's even more infuriating now is like we've had the manga in the meantime and it's been fun, but they've straight up taken the fucking year off. And it seems like it's in order to placate Toriyama on another project because this Sandland thing, man, San Diego Comic-Con's this weekend. They've got a fucking Sandland banner up somewhere over there. They're doing a movie. Okay, fine, I get it. They're also doing a fucking video game for some reason. Who the fuck likes Sandland? Like 50 fucking people? I don't know any of them personally. I'm interested in the project, but it's just very obvious to me that they were like, Toriyama is approaching 2013 Battle of Gods, right? That's when the franchise restarted. It's been 10 years now. What happened the last time Toriyama had a series run for 10 years? Say from, I don't know, 1984 to 1995. What happened around then? Did he get bored and did he end it? Yes. Yes, he fucking did. From 2013 to 2023, it's about the same amount of time has passed. And he's been consistently working on Dragon Ball. And it's like they can't fucking take that track off the fucking rails because it makes them so much money. But you can tell he's like, whatever. We just put out a movie, right? Can't you guys just put the movie in the comic book so I can go do this other thing over here? I won't end Dragon Ball if you give me a bunch of money to go make a Sandland movie and game. And, just take like 12 to 15 months to retell the manga. I'll fucking do some punch-ups for Toyotaro here and there. And thanks for the time off. See ya. Like, that's truly what this feels like to me, and it's fucking infuriating, man.
See, how I've always thought is like Toriyama actually has like the least involvement with it. Like he comes up with probably like the notes for the story, and then like after that, it's like do what y'all do. See, I don't even really consider him really being that much involved with it. Well, I don't know. Is that a new anime you're talking about? Like Castle? I don't know. I've never heard of that.
Sandland is another Toriyama. I don't think it's a one shot. I think it was a mini series around the time, or it was either just before or after Nekomajin Z. I can't remember. The big bad in the Sandland manga, though, soon to be a movie. It looks exactly like the Demon King Dabura. Like he looks exactly like him. It's fucking crazy. It's just so obviously a Toriyama inspired, like fun little thing for him to do. And I'm sure he had I'm sure it's cool, but at what cost, man? How long did it take you to write the movie and put together your fucking video game plot? Are you in there fucking programming it yourself, Toriyama? Like what? You can't like get back to the Dragon Ball with the fucking Black Frieza shit and see how the next big arc goes. And I want to see the fights, Nope. Just took a year off because it's like he hits that 10-year mark and he's like, so this is boring. I'm all set. I don't know. It's just I can't help but think about it that way.
I mean, I just want them to be honest with us. Like, if the anime are, but I feel like if they told me if the anime wasn't coming back, I feel like my enthusiasm for the manga would go away a little bit.
Might.
Because I like the manga, but I also like the part in my mind where I was like, we might get to see this one day. And I'm really getting that feel, especially with like Bleach, because like their creator had a situation where they stopped animated it, but they bringing it back and they're animated it now, and it looks so much better actually seeing it on the screen. You know what I mean? So like, I would love to see Black Frieza animated. I just would love to.
It's funny you mentioned that, man, because they just put Dragon Ball characters into PUBG, I think. And one of the characters they put in there is Frieza. I don't think he has his Black Frieza transformation, but like when the character spawns, it's so weird, man. This is the first instance of it, I think, ever, maybe. The first appearance of a manga reference like that, like when he does the superhero landing at the end of the Granola arc. You would think the first time you see that animated would be in the anime. Nope. First time you're seeing it animated is in Pub fucking G. And it looks cool. I mean, it's obviously within the graphic style of that game, but it's just fucking bizarre, man. Like, they really might just take the route of doing a movie once every 2 years and then doing this fucking bullshit to us. I hope not, but they might.
I mean, I wouldn't be mad if they did like a movie with some of these arcs, though. Like if they did like the granola, and then they put it all on a movie. See, that have to be like 2 hours long, because sometimes these Dragon Ball movies be like 50 minutes. If you're gonna do a whole arc, it gotta be kind of fleshed out a little bit.
The last two have been okay. I think Super Hero was 100-ish minutes, and I think Broly's around the same, maybe a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Super Hero's longer. I could be getting them mixed up, but they're longer than they were than when we were kids, because that would be it. It'd be like a 55-minute movie, like just under an hour, like a double episode, basically.
It's like crazy. I've just realized that rewatching the movies, how short they are.
Oh yeah, I mean, they were so short. Like the Tree of Might movie back in the day, they didn't used to air that always as a movie. Sometimes they would as like an extra long special episode, but other times they would chop it down into like fucking 3 episodes and put them out as it was weird, man. I don't know why they did it. I think Sci-Fi Channel did it back then. It wasn't on Toonami. I don't know. Either way, man, I'm old and I'm just getting impatient. And it's like, what are we doing here? What are we doing?
And we get later in years, and we don't want to be like about to die when they about to be like, oh, we're finally bringing out the new season. Like, what?
Yeah,
it's some bullshit. You know what I mean?
I mean,
well, hopefully by that time Toriyama be gone. I'll be sorry if Toriyama still like hanging on. I'll be like, damn.
I mean, I obviously wish no ill will on the dude or anything, but sometimes I do wonder if he were to like formally retire or pass away or something. What do they do? Do they ramp it up and truly give it over to Toyotaro? Because God, I fucking hope not. There are other mangaka that are much more talented than him who could probably do a way cooler job. But whatever, they anointed him as the dude for whatever reason. We'll see.
See, that'd be hard, man. I don't even know if I would want to do it without Toriyama unless he gave me some type of like end goal he wanted. I guess you can say Z, the end of Z is like the end goal, but it's still like, I don't know. It's like taking somebody else's work and going your way with it. Like, I don't know.
I think his end goal is keep cashing checks. I think that's his only end goal.
You think so?
Like, I think he'd be like, after I'm long and gone, I want my great-great-grandchildren to be getting residual checks from Dragon Ball merchandising. Like, just keep the shit rolling, dog. I mean, what the fuck does he care? He's dead. I'm sure that's what Toei would work into the legal fucking language of his will or whatever, though.
They probably already got it in his contract. They probably overpaid him already and was like, hey, we just want the rights to this when you're dead so that we can create probably like 3 or 4 more movies out of this.
Dude, if it was America, that would have happened a long fucking time ago. From what I understand, and I don't understand much, obviously, the copyright laws or like ownership laws of intellectual property are like way more stringent and ironclad in Japan, and seldom do the rights leave the original creator. But if it was in America, that shit would have been done fucking 25 years ago. Like, easy.
That's great though. Then I like that.
Yeah, it is a better system, I guess. I mean, it really does all depend on what he wants to do with it ultimately. And it could be, you know, end it. It could just be let it go on zombie mode like we've been dealing with since late last year. It really is. It's probably going to go through the end of the year with this movie retelling.
I don't know. I feel like kind of with the route they're going right now, Dragon Ball might end up taking a break in a few years because I feel like it's so many. You can only do so many of the retelling things. You know what I mean? And bringing back the same character, unless you're willing to actually do something like drastic and new, and kind of just take the backlash a little bit into like something changed. But see, that's the hard thing about working off an old project is that the fact that people have an assumption and want something, they want to see certain things. People want to see Goku win. A lot of, you know what I mean? People aren't going to really be okay with just Goku dying and you trying to bring in like a new main character. Like that's going to be really hard. But that's the only way I can see. I feel like Dragon Ball is going to have to keep doing these like, oh, after 10 years, we're coming back type of thing. You know what I mean? Because it's only so much you can do unless we try to go past Z. But then I feel like Toriyama really don't want to do that because that's gonna be work. Like he imagines how much work he has to do after, because that means I'm gonna have to go back, start actually writing what's going on now. Because at least with the Z being the end goal, that's already featured out. Now he just has to kind of sprinkle all this little shit between there and this. Everything after Z is all brand new. You know what I mean?
I guess. I mean, if you think about it like that, though, I mean, isn't he kind of like undoing what the end of Z is with everything that he's doing in the in-between time? I mean, it is still technically new shit. I mean, I don't know. I really wish that they would have the balls to do it. I really wish they'd just get the fuck. Like, we're right there. In terms of timeline, we're pretty much right there, man. And maybe that's it. Maybe you're right. Maybe they are coming up on the end of the manga and the project as a whole. I mean, it's been a decade. It's about time. It makes sense. I hate to see it go, obviously, but if that's the case, that's okay. Then we look forward to the anime adaptations of the last few arcs, and we'll get season 2, quote unquote, of Dragon Ball Super. Maybe it's another 100 episodes or something, or maybe another 50 episodes. Who fucking knows? That could be the world we might be living in the next few years.
And that's one thing I will say about Super versus like all those animes you had said earlier. It's Super did run for like, was it 125 episodes? And a lot of those 131, a lot of those other ones kind of run for like maybe like 25 episodes. So like if I guess if they actually had broken Super up like that in like 25 episodes, they probably should be kind of airing right now.
Yep. 100%. And like I said the same shit back then. I'm like, it's cool that we get a new thing every single Sunday morning or Saturday night. However, why don't you do it? Because even back then, man, people were talking about that shit week to week, frame by fucking frame, breaking down how bad it was. And it's like, if the production schedule is this bad, why don't you just make it a seasonal anime? You do 22 episode season and you put it out once a year and you take your fucking time with it and you make it awesome. Like, how fucking hard is that?
I mean, that's literally the recipe right now. And they would have been top tier because, I mean, they have so great moments, but then it's like, man, why? Man.
I don't know how recently you've watched some of the good episodes of Tournament of Power, like 126, 130, 110, 109, 131, obviously, and all those beautiful looking episodes. Imagine an entire season, 22 episode Dragon Ball season of the granola arc done in, and that's just because it's the only fucking thing that we haven't seen adapted, right? Oh no, Moro. Dude, Moro's a way cooler arc than granola. Fuck me for fucking forgetting. Of the Moro arc, 22 episodes done in that high quality style toward the end of Super, a Tournament of Power, high quality shit. That would be like one of the top animes of the fucking year every year if they tried to do some quality shit with it, but they'd rather it be a every single week product like it used to be back in the day. Yes, for sake of nostalgia, but also it's probably more profitable for them that way, honestly.
And let me tell you, because we're talking about this, and I know people are like, why you keep bringing up Bleach? They're doing this right now. They're doing 13 episode seasons of their last arc. Every episode is beautiful. I'm just letting you know that Dragon Ball can literally do this. I hope they're watching this because it's literally rewatching like an old anime actually become one of the top tiers again. just because they're putting a heart into it. That's what to me, Super kind of like when you rewatch it like about 20 times. Because I'm gonna be honest, I've rewatched Super so many times. Damn. And Z, because I just love them at the end of the day. I'm a Dragon Ball fan at heart. But like if they actually took their time and actually just stay at a Kaioken times 10 moment when he's going against Hit, that episode alone could be a beautiful episode. Like
it was, man. They had the insert song in that one, I believe. I can't remember what the oh yeah, that was the opening song. That's when they started to kind of figure it out a little bit, but I don't know. I wish they would give a little bit of a shit because right now, dude, they're more than fine with keeping shit on zombie mode. So we've kind of been positive. We've kind of been contemplatory. Is that the word? We've been contemplating. Yeah. I don't know words. I have a couple of things I just want to complain about real quick. Mostly not even about Dragon Ball specifically, but just a couple people within the Dragon Ball space. Complained about one of them many times in the past. And honestly, I don't even have that much to say about him because what I want to complain about him happened like, I don't know, a month ago when they announced the Superman casting for James Gunn's new movie. David Cornsweet, I believe is the name of the actor. I don't know. I don't fucking know him. Looks like he could be a good Clark Kent and a good Superman. We'll see. That fucking homophobe, DBZ exclusives, like, did this weird thing where, like, and mind you, he just pretty much posts about Dragon Ball. So this is like, he's ultra fucking homophobic. He like put together some meme of like Jonathan Kent, who's gay in the comics, in a Superman suit, and Cornsweet in a movie where I guess he played a gay guy and had like a boyfriend or something. He like put them side by side, and it's like, this is your new Superman, to like get the fucking Snyder fans all rock hard and shit, And like, I mean, that's just an example of like how terrible of a fucking person he is. And I wish that he would just literally fall into the Grand fucking Canyon and die. But to like go out of your way, to go out of your niche. I mean, Superman, Goku, they're right here. They're adjacent properties. I get it. You're in the nerd space, but like, you really have to be like a wicked, hateful piece of shit fucking loser to take the time to make that shit up. It's the same person, the same loser type of piece of shit that would take the time to get drafts every month and put the fuck into a panel every single goddamn month for the last 2 years and thinking that joke's going to continue to land. DBZ exclusives, I hope you hear this. I fucking hate you. John Sean Malik, whatever the fuck your name is. I hope you step into traffic and get struck by a fucking vehicle and your body flies 200 feet to your death. And now that I've said that, and goddamn did I mean it with every single fiber of my being, the other person that I'm kind of like, I feel bad about this one because I gave this kid a lot of credit last year. DBS Chronicles on Twitter. I don't know how active you are on Twitter, Ray, but
I don't really follow a lot of Dragon Ball Z content, but are these two different people you just said?
Yep, exactly.
What was the first person you just?
That's a DBZ exclusives.
Oh, you said exclusives. Okay, I was like, yeah, they just named the same person.
No, they may as well be the same fuck. I mean, that's rude to Chronicles, I guess, but they have like a very similar name and do very similar types of content sometimes. Chronicles is more on like the leaks, spoiler side of things, and he really got his cred up with me last year because he who cares? He had an inside source at one of the marketing departments in one of the other Asian countries. I believe it was the Philippines. And basically he got the movie booklet, like the book that accompanied the movie with like information about it in that country. He got one of those like a month before the movie came out or some shit and read it and gave a bunch of spoilers and all that. So I was like, all right, he knows some people somewhere on the production side of things, I guess. I mean, it's marketing. It's not production of the show or the movie, but, maybe he's kind of legit, So I gave him a lot of credit. In September of last year, he leaks this thing about how he can confirm that there will be a Dragon Ball anime, a web exclusive anime, 22-minute episodes that will be starting at some point in 2023. And I was like, shit. I mean, he was right on the movie leaks a couple of months ago. Maybe he's right on this. This would be awesome. This would be great news, right? And sure enough, like a bunch of people have written about it, and like people just tag him as the source. Him and like one or two other people, DBS hype. He's kind of on my fucking he's a scumbag shit list too. He all run in the same circles, and I swear to God, it's just like these 3 or 4 different people who all just corroborate each other's stories, and they're like, oh, all of them are saying it. It must be true if all of them are saying it, and I'm pretty sure that all make up the same fucking thing together. This kid changed his name. All right, he's got written about a ton because everyone's waiting for this fucking anime to come back. Oh, web anime, let's write a thing about that. He's quoted everywhere in it. DBS Chronicles, DBS Chronicles, DBS Chronicles. Guess who just changed their fucking Twitter name within the last couple of months? Because he just gets continuously fucking rolled for this obviously probably not coming to fruition. It's DBS Chronicles. His name is now Supa Chronicles, SUPA Chronicles. And I noticed that shit and I tweeted at him. I've had very limited Twitter interaction with this dude in my life. Several tweets exchanged back and forth over the last fucking 4 or 5 years, say. I don't remember what I said. I took a screenshot. I said they are 612. Okay, this is how long I've been holding on to this thought. So about 5 weeks. This is me in response to him about like how bad the manga has been. I was like, they are literally taking almost a full year off from new manga material. Nobody should be enjoying this. Also, name change, huh? Weird you did that. I wonder why. And he said DBS in the name gave the wrong impression to people when I talked about other anime or movies. So it was time to get rid of it. And then I said, and the new name is super indicative of what it is you talk about instead now. Good point. Thought it was all that dragging people started doing on the name DBS Chronicles over the last 6 months. He's a fucking, I don't want to say a fraud, but I think maybe he might be a fraud who got lucky and met somebody on like LinkedIn in the marketing department in a fucking Philippines movie production company last year and got a booklet. So, coward, liar, tired of people making shit up solely for the sake of having things to talk about and get clicks for. I'd rather you guys just fuck off, because it's, again, and I hate to be like the whole year you don't love Dragon Ball for the right reasons thing, but it's like you talk about Dragon Ball this much because you know it's good for your bottom line in your wallet, and I get it, but like also fuck you because you're doing harm. You're doing harm to the community overall, and for what? For some money. And if that's the reason why you're going to do some bad things to a community, and bad things is like a dramatic way to say it, but like just making the community overall a shittier place. If that's what you're going to do for dollars, fuck you. Walk into traffic as well. DBS Chronicles, Super Chronicles, you fucking fraud cunt. That works too. That was good to get off my chest. I've been thinking about that for a while because it was the same. He's Danny Geekdom in 2022, 2023 that Danny Geekdom was in 2019. Danny did the same shit back then, and he'll say that he did it and things changed, but we all know things didn't change. They didn't start any fucking production, man. It's the same thing. Danny did it back then to sell tickets for CommandCon 2. This kid does it now for Twitter clout because he needs people to go watch his YouTube channel because he has a very, I don't know, I think he speaks, I mean, he does stuff in English, but I think he's from India maybe. So it's not great English, but he also does stuff in his native tongue. So like he's got appeal to 2 different markets. You know, I don't know. I just shut the fuck up. Stop making stuff up. That's all I have to say. How do you feel, Ray?
I don't really follow a lot of Dragon Ball Z content.
You're smart.
Because I like to just kind of go with my own opinions. The only time I really do is like when you're trying to find like a spoiler or something like that. But I followed Black Boma for a while, but then she got into some BS stuff, so I had to unfollow her. Because
what do you mean?
I guess she had like created an image, and then people found out it was like AI generated. I think she said she made it, and then it just was a whole lot of extra stuff. I think Danny got a part of that because he had like retweeted it and was like saying it was cool, and it was like, oh, you like this, and she's a fraud, she like using AI to make, and I was just like, I'm just not that I'm not a fan of that part of Dragon Ball. I'm more of like the story and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So like I just let it go. Like I just stopped following all of them. And
I like
plus
Tag.
I like some of her Instagram posts, but I don't know.
I'll be
I don't
honest.
like. I hate when people try to influence my opinion of Dragon Ball. I'm like, you can have an opinion, and not try to influence mine.
So Tay's been on the show. She's cool. You were on the episode with her too, right? She's
I
cool
like
as
her.
hell. She's a very nice person. I said it to her when we interviewed her. I was like, sometimes you do what I call a no shit post, meaning like you put something up and it's like, yeah, no shit. Like, why'd you bother making this almost? She does a lot of those, man. She does a ton of those. And like she does some digital art and stuff, which is cool, whatever. But like, even if she did want to use AI as like a jump off point for something, I assume that's what she did. Maybe it's just totally fucking AI generated. Whatever the case, who fucking cares? It's Dragon Ball memes. Get something better to do with your life, but they won't. You know why? Because she is an attractive woman in the space of Dragon Ball, and dudes do not like that. They're like, a girl with boobs who won't fucking read my DMs or be my girlfriend. I hate her. That's why she gets extra shit for dumb shit like that. If it was some fucking dude who did that, Garen fucking Teed, nobody would have cared at all. At all, at all, at all. You know how I know? You know what though? Maybe he was. I guess maybe if she like concealed it and tried to pass it off as her own work, I do get it being like upsetting. But ultimately, like, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? And also for Danny to get shit for retweeting it, Danny's got a lot of other shit that you could be fucking giving him to for, you know, a million other different reasons. That's why you got on Danny's case, because he retweeted another person's post that they made with AI that he didn't realize he did. Really? That's where we're at, huh? Has it been 5.5 years since Dragon Ball's been on the air? Yeah, is that what it is? Has it been almost a year since the manga stopped? Oh, all right. This is why Dragon Ball fans are the goddamn fucking worst people on the planet. And I hate most of you, except the people who listen to this show, because you obviously resonate with me a little bit, so you must be kind of cool, because I'm all right. You're all
And
right, too.
I hope I explained that right. I feel like there's probably gonna be some people that's gonna probably explain it better, but
Who gives a
that
shit?
I just was like, nah, I'm
The
not
only
into
version
that.
of events that I accept is your version of events, because it was the first one that I heard, and my brain cannot be updated after that. So you were right. You were right.
Feel it. I
Yeah.
feel it.
A couple other things before we wrap it up. Yo, what do you got going on in your show? You're putting on a couple episodes here and there again, right? How's our gap?
No, our gap, we've been doing pretty good. We haven't put out. I'm working on 2 more podcast episodes tomorrow, but I've been doing a lot of Instagram reels these last 2 weeks, posting about the bleach, about basically what I've been kind of talking about this whole episode. So I've been posting like 7-minute like episode reviews of that on Instagram. Still
cool.
working on YouTube content, and still working on episodes. Still trying to get more voice actors. I got one I'm trying to line up, and if it comes into fruition, and if I'm on another episode before it comes out, I'll let you guys know who it is. But since it's not for certain, I don't want to be like, say it, and then y'all like, where's the episode?
Yeah. I get that. You don't want to fucking shoot yourself in the foot and be like, I'm gonna get to talk to this person. I've done that a couple times in my life, and it doesn't happen, and you look like an asshole or a liar. It's the worst.
Yeah.
That's what happened with Monica Rial the first time. I was like talking about how I was gonna get her on the show, and then all the Vic shit happened, and then she didn't come on the show for fucking 3.5 years. She's like, you don't want the smoke, dude. Like, let it calm down. We'll talk about it afterwards. And she came on the show, and it was awesome, and she's the greatest. But you know what voice actor I'd love to interview? I thought about this yesterday. It's Brian Drummond, the OG Vegeta, the over 9,000, that guy. And the reason I was thinking about him yesterday is because, and if you're a Patreon member, you might be hip to this. Okay. This is another thing that's been going on since before Dragon Ball Super went off the air. We on Patreon have done a Death Note podcast. It's me, Feds, who's been on the show, my friend Amber, she's been on the show. It's Mike Norm's wife. The 3 of us do every episode of Death Note, watch it, do a little fucking commentary during these last episodes we've been making, which has been so much fun, and then do a little podcast talking about it or whatever. When we originally recorded them all, like in a very short amount of time, I lost like the last 6 episodes because my computer like fucking dumped itself and lost a bunch of memory. So like a couple years later, before COVID happened, like 2019, I was like, hey, let's try to finish these last 6 episodes. And we did a few of them, but we never did the last 4. So we've been getting together again the last couple of months to finish off Death Note. And we've watched the last 2 episodes of Death Note last night. And Brian Drummond is Ryuk in Death Note, and he shows up in the final episode. And I was like, because he's not really in the episode leading up to like that scene, but when he's back in it, I'm like, Brian Drummond's the fucking greatest, dude. He's such a good actor. I'd love to interview him. But if you're on Patreon, episode 34 came out the other day. Vigilance. Malice will be next. And then the finale of Death Note Super Dope. We recorded it last night, 36 and 37. 1.28, and then I forget what the last episode's called, but who cares? It's been recorded. They're super fun. I like those podcasts because they're quick and dirty. Like, I don't give a shit about them. We just like sit around, smoke, drink,
quick and
talk
dirty,
shit.
under 30.
Yeah, quick and dirty, under 30, except for these last few episodes, we just did the playback with the episode. Like, we just let the sound roll while we watch the episode. We crank the TV up, and you can hear the dubs going on in the background. So we watch that one in English because English dub for Death Note is really fucking good. And you can watch it along if you want, or you could listen along because you can get most of the dialogue happening, you know. But it's us just like being fucking clown shoes, making jokes, laughing, watching anime, and then we talk about it for like 25, 30 minutes tops, and go on to the next one. So if you want to go check those out, I think I'm gonna make the finale episode a free one on Patreon, but that won't be out for a while. So watch for some updates on that one. If you want to hear old episodes in the meantime, though, you can go check us out on Patreon, support us at that $5 a month tier. And thanks for all the patrons that I have supporting us right now. You guys are the greatest. Thank you for hanging with my not content making ass for Super Dope. We are still making the advice pod though, right? That shit's good as hell.
Yep. We've been having fun on that, except for the last episode, but we've been doing pretty good. I hope
what
you guys
happened on
watch
the last episode? The last one we recorded?
Not that one, the one before that one.
Oh, I yelled at Raysean for a minute because Raysean wasn't paying attention, maybe. Oh, because Raysean wouldn't let me end a fucking bit. And he's like, I have to leave early. I'm like, you have to leave early, Raysean. End the bit. But you know what? I would never say that stuff to you if I didn't love you. Isn't that right?
Yeah. I've had time to get over it, so yeah. I was pissed. I ain't gonna lie. I was pissed.
Of course you were pissed. I was pissed too for like 3 fucking days. I didn't just yell for no reason. I was pissed. But you know what's great? Is that I love you. I'm sorry I yelled at you. I've actually apologized to you like 3 times before we even hung up that night. But I was so mad. But yeah, if you want to get some of that drama, it's not even really drama because I don't think it's not going to make its way into the cut. Maybe now that I talked about it, it might have to. No, because I sound like a real dick. Yeah, you guys are never going to hear it probably, but you can think about it.
You probably should.
No, I shouldn't, but maybe no, don't do it, Kyle.
You do like a Patreon thing. I just don't want to hear it. I'll be honest with you.
Never again. I have thought about putting out an advice episode early on Patreon, especially during like this long time where I'm not putting shit out, but it's not what the content's for. And the advice pod is something that needs to be edited, like the music and making sure it starts and ends in the right fucking part of the segment and the visual piece of it. I've been having fun doing on YouTube. I
have been watching it. I've watched like 4 episodes in like the last week.
What'd you think?
They're not bad. They're exactly how I thought they were gonna be. like from like how they sound from the I'm talking more from like an audio standpoint because that's mostly how I look at it. I don't really like watch it. Like the video, like I just listen to it. But it sounds just like how it does on the podcasting app, Spotify. So
it was really big for me to try when we decided to do video this year was to try to make sure that the audio flow from the first season stays the same and still somehow works with video. and it's been tough. I've been like trying to tinker around to figure it out, but I think I figured it out the last 2 weeks. And it's basically double memes, baby. That's all we got to do.
It's not bad. I like it.
And you know what? I think everyone.
I think we need to get
a
a good intro song, though, like something.
You don't
that's
like that intro song? I was thinking about changing an intro song each season. The thing with the intro song is I like that one because it's free.
Easy.
It's free. I mean, if you have one that you can find that's free that you fucking dig better, but
no, it's gonna be hard because I feel like how do you get a good like upbeat theme song that kind of gives you the same like, oh, we're about to go into a Vice pod, you know what I mean? Because you can get the wrong song and that could make people like, oh, what am I going into? Give them the wrong expectations, you know what I mean? So
I'm worried that this is how I think about it. I think we're married to the opening song. I think that one has to stay. The ending song, though, I think about changing that every single week, and I don't, because I like the traditional podcast school of thought of like official bookends on either end. Like it's the same opening, same ending. It's like consistency. Podcast listeners are creatures of habit. Like they expect the same thing when they go into it, and change isn't good. But from a listenability binging style, the advice podcast could be one that it's like you could listen to that shit and not realize that you've listened to multiple episodes because of how it's structured with multiple segments and the music changes in between the segments. If I had a different song for the outro song, you hear it, and then the next thing you hear is the hook clip of the new episode, and then the intro song, that starts again. It's like, oh, I already listened to one. Oh, I'm already listening to another one. I don't know, man. I think about weird fucking shit that makes no sense to nobody, even myself sometimes. So go listen to the Advice Pod, Super Dope listeners, because I look at the numbers and it doesn't seem like many of you are. And I think that's bullshit and stupid, because I think it's the best podcast I've been a part of since starting this stupid dumbass journey 6 years ago. 6 years ago? 6 years ago. All right. Raysean, I thank you for hanging out with me and talking shit. And that was a really good time. And it was fun to talk about Dragon Ball, sort of. I mean, I mostly bitched, but you know.
No, I understand. You always have like a bitchy type of attitude towards Dragon Ball lately. And I'm always trying to be like, it's not all bad, man. It's cool. I have more of a low vibe.
No, people love you. You're the favorite on the Advice Pod. You're the favorite on this pod too. People were like, "You, the high-strung piece of shit." At least he's got Raysean to fucking chill out the fucking vibe for the show. I'm just like, what the fuck did you say? I'll go to your house and kill you. I won't actually do that. That was a joke. Joking. I know it didn't seem like very jokey, but it was. Totally was. All right, let's wrap it up. Now,
Kyle fucking up.
Yeah. Kyle's always fucking up his song. That's the truest shit I've said in a long time. In so long. That's good.
Well, I mean, it's been 6 weeks. Right?
Yeah.
Probably got another tune in your head.
Yeah, it goes.
Roll it.
I'm feeling hot. All right.